I'm Aarushi, and a fun fact about me would be I love dogs. I really love all the dogs, all kinds of dogs, but I've been bitten thrice by dogs. So, yeah, that's my fun fact.
That's like interesting that you still love dogs after having been bitten three times. I definitely wouldn't love dogs if I were bitten by dogs three times, but I guess some people are dog lovers. Think good to know that about you as well. Before we get into what's maybe a little more serious conversation, I love to introduce listeners to a more personal or a fun side of you before we
Yeah.
begin the official podcast. For my sort of official intro, just so listeners get to know you, this is Aarushi Vij. She's an alumni of IIT, so the Indian Institute of Technology at Roorkee, which is in Uttarakhand. I had to Google that. So if listeners didn't know where Roorkee was, that's perfectly fine. She majored in applied math. Today, we'll just be having, I think, a fun and authentic conversation about life in IIT, the choices you've made, the lessons you learned along the college journey, and any advice and insights you have to share to like high schoolers listening to the podcast. So yeah, I think for listeners again, welcome to Uni Unveiled. I'm your host Arya Road, currently studying at Minerva University. Welcome Ayushi. Excited to hear a lot more about IIT. My mind was like always clear on going abroad, so I didn't even do the basic research. I don't know the ABCs, so it'll be a very like ground up conversation. But I'm really hoping this is inspiring and helpful for any listener who's potentially on the path, which is like not an easy path for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, excited to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Awesome. You've actually graduated from IIT, so you've like gone through the grind, and now you're in the world of work. You graduated more than a year ago. Let's
Yeah.
like bring listeners up to date with what are you currently working on.
Yeah, so I am a software engineer at Google, and currently I am working out of Bangalore. Yeah, so that's it.
Perfect. Do you want to say like two sentences or three sentences more about what exactly is your role at Google? What kind of projects are you working on?
And I work in Google Cloud under Google Workspace. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think that's good to know what you're currently working on. And I like to build up each episode chronologically. And so we begin with high school and we get into IIT and then how that leads up and connects to sort of the world of work. But it's interesting to talk to you as an alumni because you can like look back and like talk about reflections of the 5 years versus someone who's like in the journey, maybe isn't reflecting as much. So that's why I love getting alumni like on the podcast. Um, let's begin with a question I'm beginning to ask like all alumni I'm getting on the podcast, which is if you were to look back and describe the 5 year IIT journey in like two or three sentences, what do you think those sentences would be?
I think very enjoyable, and if I look back, I see that I grew up a lot because it was first time away from home and independence and learning new things, making new friends. I studied all my 14 years in the same school. So I had friends who were 2 years old with me, and then till we were 16 or 18. So that was something new for me, making friends and like living independently away from home. So that was something that I learned. Yeah.
Mm, I think I say this a lot on like the podcast that I think you learn a lot outside the classroom in college. You
Yeah.
learn from like peers, professors outside the classroom. You learn from homesickness. I think homesickness teaches you a lot of valuable life lessons. Whether you're like one city away or like half the world away, it's sort of a similar ball game. But I always like to drill down that point. And I hope on this episode we're able to talk also about like IIT academics, but also about like I think a lot of people are unaware that a lot of stuff goes on at IIT beyond just the classroom, like
Yeah.
club, sports, and those interactions with peers.
Definitely. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm hoping we can like dive into that as well as we progress in this episode.
So I think that it is an overall development. Like people think like we are just geeks who just study, but that's not it. 2 years are definitely grinding. That is very rigorous studies and things like that. But 5 years or 4 years at college, we get to explore all other sides of us also. Like I have friends who are extremely good painters, and we did not know about that in the 2 years of coaching. But after that, in their college, they used to paint so beautifully, and we had all kinds of clubs like cooking club, culinary clubs, and choreography, dramatic section. So there used to be dramas and choreographies and music section and all kinds of sports. There used to be squash, basketball, tennis, and cricket. I'm just running out. I'm just remembering what all games used to be there. But swimming, we used to have an Olympic size swimming pool.
Mm.
So yeah, that we every kind of facility or every kind of activity was available at college.
I'm very glad you're like immediately busting some myths. I think we have this picture of the typical IITian being this crazy person who like studies all day. I'm hoping we can also bust a few of these myths on the podcast as well. One of
Yeah.
which you just did, which is that you guys aren't just like engineers or mathematicians, which you are brilliant at, but like you have these whole other sides of your like personality which no one talks about, as you said, painting and sports and drama and whatnot.
Yeah,
What?
and even
Go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
And even if like something you want to pursue that, I believe like my college in that case was very good in that also. Like I did not know how to play basketball. I joined in first year, and then they taught us how to play basketball, and everything was free. Like there was no coaching fees or something like that in the college. And every we could join any sport, we could join any club. So yeah, that was good.
Lovely. Apart from basketball, what were some other interesting hobbies or passions you had outside of your academics over those 5 years at IIT?
I tried getting into a few tech clubs because, like, obviously it's an IIT, so tech is the hot topic everywhere. But I wasn't able to get into any of the tech clubs. But we used like the culture is very prominent in IIT. So if we used to talk to people and they tell that this is happening or they are trying new things, so we I used to try a few things. Like I tried open source contributions, so I contributed into Mozilla. And then there was a lot of culture of GSOC and outreach. If you have heard about it, GSOC is Google Summer of Code, and outreach is like a women only open source contribution program. So like it's only for college students. So I one summer I spent like contributing in Mozilla for the same. And basketball took a lot of my time. Yeah, so like every day we in first year we used to have like class like a very tight timetable. So because of that, and basketball used to start at 6:30 and end up at 8:30. So yeah, that would take major of my time. But one we used to have entire night like to roam around campus. Our campus is really beautiful. It's very beautiful, and like it's like a bubble. So everything is inside the campus and you need not to go outside of campus. So we used to go on walks, and like if there is a good weather or it's raining or something like that. So yeah, I think most of the time what I did was chill with my friends only. Yeah.
Mm, Generally, I mean, and maybe this is not true of everybody, but generally, people I get on the podcast who are alumni, especially, their sweetest memories of college days are sort of almost never in the classroom. They're always outside the classroom, like you're saying, midnight walks with friends and all those sweet memories. And so, even for someone getting into college, I think it's just important to be aware of the fact that maybe 10 years down the line, you don't remember this specific math class, but like creating sweet memories with good friends in college is probably the best investment of your time, like outside of class, sort of spending that time, quality and quantity time, because
Yeah.
that's actually what you'll like look back upon and smile as you're like doing today after you've graduated.
Yeah, but I just want to call out that like classes and grades that are also equally important. Like people say that some people would say ki your CG doesn't matter. You should enjoy and take a chill. You just came out of JEE preparation and then you should chill. Everything will fall into place. But
Hmm.
I would suggest that one should keep as much as CG. Like CGPA in our case, it's out of 10.
Mhm.
So one should keep as much as CG as possible because it will always help you. In the end, when you sit for placements or internships, your CG will be a good indicator that yes, you are disciplined, you work hard, and you are good at academics. So I think one should enjoy other things, but should definitely maintain their CG and make sure that they're good in that area too.
Hmm. Okay, I think very valid. I think the struggle of college is actually in not only for an IITian, but for like even someone like myself is sort of balancing doing
Yes.
well in class and doing well academically and also like finding time for outside the classroom. That's constantly a struggle, like till the very last day of college.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah, definitely. During my fifth year, also, when I only had two subjects, still that was a struggle.
Yeah, I'm sure. I want to ask you another like higher level question before we dive into some specific details, and we'll start from way back to like 10th and 11th grade and begin with the preparation. But the
Yeah.
higher level question is again looking back at the 5 years of IIT, what were the most enjoyable aspects and what were the least enjoyable aspects of the experience?
I think least enjoyable would be definitely homesickness. So yeah,
Yeah.
like during my first 1 month, I wasn't able to video call my parents because I used to cry at the moment. So I was very homesick. But as I started making friends, as I started considering this college as my home, so I used to get a little, because one thing in IIT is like people all around India come. So we don't have, like, we have all kinds of cultures and all kinds of people, and then that is a good thing also because I got to make friends from different states and different cultures, so that was a good thing. And good thing, I personally, for me, would be hostel life. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I enjoyed that a lot. I really like spending time with my friends. We had a lot of memories. हमने बहुत मस्ती करी, and yeah, मतलब we, and the campus. Our campus is really beautiful. Yeah. So that, I think, would be my best memories overall, like a high level of best memories. Yeah.
Yeah, super, super. That sounds good. If I were to push you further on what you said, I think this is valuable for listeners to know. Many people are coming from, let's say, a school where it's mostly people from their city or their state. And so they've not had the experience of mingling with students from all over the country. Over your 5 years at IIT, what did you find to be like the value or the learning from mingling with students who came from literally all parts and all corners of India?
I think knowing about different culture, like what is acceptable in our culture, may not be like that normal in their culture, and vice versa. And but like since we are from the same country, there is not like very different any aspect that I was like, ki, oh, this is very different from how I was brought up or something like that. It's more like getting to know and curiousness and accommodating their culture. So one thing was like all friends are from different places, so whenever they used to go home, they used to bring their mithaiya and the food they eat. So that was a good thing ki we used to try. My grandmother must have not heard like these mithais, naan khatai and things like that, and I myself tried for the first time. So these were the things like I found very interesting.
Yeah, like the very, very, very small things, I think. And this is true even of someone like myself who like even when I'm abroad in the US and with students from like different countries, as you said, in your case it's students from like different states. In our case it's students from different countries. And so the Brazilian student will like bring his Brazilian mithai and like American student will bring his American mithai. And that's what sort of creates the bonding because food is like something we all bond over and like also experimenting with something you've never tried before is like new experiences which college is giving you, which I'm assuming you didn't have like before college.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think very cool. What we'll do is we'll rewind in time and I want to get back to like, and this is years ago, so I'm sort of maybe also going to be testing your memory, but let's get back to like high schooler Aarushi in like grade 10, grade 11. And I want to start with again a high level question, which is the initial dream of like I want to go to IIT, like that initial thought. I'm sure you had a vague idea of like it is this much effort and it's not an easy journey. But what inspired the initial thought of like I want to go here?
I think tech always was interesting to me, and I really liked science. So that was one reason, and the other reason was I think majorly like parents also provide two options: either you can be an engineer or doctor. So I did not want to be a doctor because I don't think I have guts to be a doctor. So yeah, engineering was the only option left. And my one cousin, so he graduated from BITS Goa, so he I looked up to him, and his life looked really interesting. And yeah, so I had a basic idea of what IIT is and what JEE is, but I did not know this was this difficult or this rigorous. So I just, like, I used to perform good in school, so we thought chalo IIT kar lete hain. And that was that was the only thought. But yeah, and at that time I didn't know anyone. Like, I come from a very small, like, it's like a not so big city, it's a tier 3 city only. So I did not know anyone who graduated from IIT. So I thought that this is something that is very, very, very rare. And I went into the preparation with least expectation, ki even if it doesn't happen, I'll give my try. So yeah.
And the whole intention of this podcast is that for someone currently in a situation like you, where you don't know someone who graduated from IIT, I'm hoping that this episode is a chance to hear from like your experience. Plus,
Yeah.
in the ending, we're also going to be talking about how you're willing to connect, and we're going to be sharing like one or two ways listeners can connect. So, sort of, if just because someone doesn't know anyone in their friends or family circle who doesn't go to IIT doesn't mean that like this is a dream you should stop like sort of dreaming. There is a whole world out there. It's sort of like I think you have to take the extra step and like go through friends of friends, find somebody to hear
Yeah.
as a senior to guide you. And so hopefully like this is what the podcast is achieving, and you today are hopefully being one of those seniors for a listener who's like interested in the path. Let's talk a bit about the 2 years of, I'm gonna call it struggle. I don't know whether it was like joyful for you, but it seems painful to me as an outsider. So 11th and 12th, the two sort of heads down years where you're preparing for those sort of life changing JEE exams. I'm assuming most listeners of this episode will have done a little bit of their background research and homework. So we won't dive into like micro details of what is the application process or what is the preparation process. But again, I want to take it at a high level with you and talk about someone who's currently preparing, like at the start of 11th grade, they're preparing for the exams. Mindset point of view or strategy point of view, what do you think is a good way to approach the preparation?
Yeah, I think one of the major decision was like I'm from Hoshiarpur, and over there weren't any coaching institutions that, like, not any prevalent or good coaching institutions that provided coaching. So me and my mother went to Chandigarh, and my mother stayed with me for 2 years just so
Wow.
that I could study. And my grandmother and my father handled took care of my younger sister over here in Hoshiarpur, because she's like 4 years younger than me, so she was in school. So me and my mom stayed for 2 years in Chandigarh till I completed my preparation. So yeah, I'm really, really grateful to my entire family that they took this big step to send me to Chandigarh and made sure that I am comfortable, and the only thing I have to do is study. So I in Chandigarh there are two kinds of coaching. I would say one is individual coaching, in which we have three subjects: physics, chemistry, and maths. So in Chandigarh, their more prevalent culture is of individual tutors. Like, you go to one person for physics coaching, and the other one for maths, and the third one for physics. And the other kind of is like these. There are big coaching institutes like Allen, Akash, and there are many coaching institutes. So I went to Allen for 2 years, and there were people who were studying from sixth grade in Allen, who were getting IIT coaching from sixth grade. Even someone, when I was in 10th, someone said that you are too late for IIT coaching. So yeah, there are people who study from 6th and 8th for these examinations. I would say that one thing that I feel is important for the 2 years is dedication. You need to forget everything and just study and focus on your main goal, that is to crack JEE Advanced. And consistency. I did not miss a single class in 2 years. We used to have Wednesday and Sunday used to be a day off, and every alternate Sunday or something like that. I don't remember much, but every Sunday we used to have exams. So there are two kinds of paper, like JEE Mains and JEE Advanced. So the same format. How much we have studied till then, one week would be mains paper and the other week would be advanced paper. So I did not miss a single test. I did not miss a single class. Yeah, so I was very, very keen into, I gave all my 2 years just for preparation. I think that, yeah, so that is something like some people would definitely study less and perform more, but I was not that kind. I had to be more disciplined and I had to give more hours into it, and then I was able to perform. Yeah,
Hmm. I'm when you said that, I just remembered a great quote which like someone previously said on the podcast. I really feel that applies, especially since we're talking about this intense 2 years. Is that sure there are people who can study less and still do well, but overall, I think hard work over like talent any day.
yeah,
So the person on the episode actually said this quote, which was hard work beats talent always when talent refuses to work hard. And
yeah.
so I really like that. I've sort of been saying it to myself for the last few days. But as you said, I think consistency is like so crucial. As you said,
Yes,
not missing the day off.
yeah,
Um,
even if you miss one, like this was my rules. Like I there are people who could do it without being this consistent and things like that, but personally I chose this. Ki I would give my 100% and would be completely dedicated. So I missed a few family functions also. I rarely used to go to home and things like that.
hmm. Do you maybe this is a much harder path, but just in case someone is potentially thinking about this, do you think it's possible to have success and do well on the exams without going through the traditional coaching center route, like completely through a self-study route?
Definitely. I have friends who are in my branch and did not took coaching or things like that. But I personally wanted it because I think I did not have much idea. One thing about coaching is कि they provide you the material. Now all you have to do is study. So how the more you study, because they have researched and they analyze each and every IIT paper, JEE advanced paper that has released till now or that has been conducted till now, and then they are analyzing, making these what we used to call them, I don't remember. So there are like what do we used to call them? I don't remember. But some there used to be some books in which we used to have questions and answers. So that question book all were curated with all the past papers and similar questions. What is the syllabus? Syllabus was very rigorously covered. So things like that. I think that cuts off a lot of your mental workload about what you want to study.
Hmm.
You would be provided what you want to study, but you would also require you would just need to study. But this is something I'm telling around 2016-17, when content creation was not that prevalent.
Hmm.
Now we have online academies, we have different kind of content, different any kind of content available for everything. All the resources are available on the internet. At that time I did not have a smartphone also. Like it was a culture among students that we used to not have smartphones that time, just because we want to concentrate more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think things are different now. People can gather their own resources. It all depends upon how you want to. There is no one path, but this is the path that I chose. I chose or I got. Yeah.
Hmm. In terms of I think for consistency, as you said, minimizing distractions is very important. You
Yeah.
spoke about sort of not missing classes, missing family functions. I'm sure there were times over the 2 years where it was like, I want to attend like this marriage, or I want to take a day off and hang out with friends, or I want to go to this new movie. What what helped you like avoid those distractions and show up to coaching even on a day where you don't want to show up to coaching?
I think it did not happen. Because I was so focused on the end point, because in our coaching they kept us busy. You had homework every day. You need and that homework was discussed the next day. So and that homework was definitely more than you can do in a day. So every day I used to come back from coaching, we used to revise what we did and we did the homework, and then we prepared for the test that used to happen. I did not have time to think about anything else. So that helped me in not being distracted. And that is something when I was in college. And then because the burden got really light. And when I was in college, even if I used to like, I contributed into outreach. So outreach is also selection program, so you contribute and then they select you based on your contributions. And I was not confident if I contributed enough or am I doing good, because I was more worried about the end result.
Hmm.
But then I remembered, and this I tell to myself again and again. During coaching, I did not have time to look at the end result because I was busy just doing the day's tasks. So that is something that I am telling myself again and again, that be busy in hardworking so that your success is also guaranteed, and you do not have that fear of failure. So I even interestingly, I also myself look back and see that why did I not think anything like that, or got so much distracted. I really like movies, and at that time, Bahubali 1 was very famous, and so Bahubali 2 was about to release, and I really wanted to watch in theater. So what I did was I only not studied on the days that my tests were there. So we used to have tests 9 to 12 or 9 to 12 and 2 to 5. So those were the Sundays I did not study at all 2 years. So I made sure that I think I caught the last show of Bahubali 2 on the day of my test only. So yeah, there
Wow.
were few things like that. But yeah, majorly I tried to stay focused.
Yeah, those are interesting stories, and that's also interesting perspective on like hard work and success. I'm glad to have that different opinion on the podcast. I've had a lot of. We also have this thing in our culture where we keep talking about work-life balance, work-life balance. I've
Yeah,
had that a lot on the podcast, and I think there's a whole other side to the coin, which is a few years of like heads down hard work will sort of set you up for like success over 30 or 40 years of your career. And
yeah,
one of my favorite podcasters, Ranveer Alabhadia, he says that every person's career needs to have 6 years where it's just like Gisai and
yeah,
Mehnat. So it's
yeah.
like heads down, work, whatever those 6 years are. Those could be 18 to 24, 24 to 30, 30 to like 36. But those 6 years are compulsory. So the earlier you get them over with, you like have a more successful career after. Uh,
And that gives you confidence also. Like, if you can work hard once, you will work hard
mm,
again in the future. So
mm,
this gives you confidence also. Okay, I achieved this, I could achieve more.
Love it. And so, from what you're saying, it's like for any IIT like dreamer listening to the episode, it's like 2 years no smartphone, like throw the smartphone from the balcony or whatever, but like no
Yeah.
smartphone.
Yeah,
Uh,
now you can't do because online classes and things like that. In COVID, during COVID, there were online classes and things like that. But I think time have changed. Now people use smartphone for resources. But yeah, don't play games, or I won't. This is something that these are the rules I made for myself. People are there who played games, who chilled, and then also performed really well. I think this depends upon everyone's capabilities.
hmm, got it. No,
Yeah.
that's a very like balanced way to like answer that. I was
Yeah.
just trying to make a joke, but I'm glad you also like clarified for listeners there as well.
Yeah, because I don't want to indicate that this is something like that requires a lot of hard work and complete isolation from the world for 2 years. That is something that I chose, but it can be different for different people.
So for your friends, this it was very different. Like they had their fun times and they went to those family functions and all of that was happening
Yeah,
really while
yeah.
they. Okay.
Yeah, there are different kind of stories. Some worked harder than me. Some were like not. In my class majorly worked harder only. Yeah, yeah, because it is difficult. So all my friends in college also, they say, yeah, it was difficult, and they really did work hard. But everyone had their own priorities also. Everyone have their different kinds of chilling mode also. Like, whenever I used to feel stressed or something like that, I used to sleep. So other people might want to play games or play any kind of sports or go out or something like that. So it's different for different people.
Sure. Sure. I definitely want to touch with you for like 2 minutes, if it's 2 minutes, on mental health. I think that's so important when you're studying 10, 12 hours a day. Sort of I think success is literally just showing up to the exam, like not burning out over those 2 years and like being there on exam day, I think that is like to me is like already very successful. Like great job from my end. But you have to get through the 2 years for that. Like it's very easy from what I'm hearing, at least from an outside perspective, to like burn out and just give up and take. There's 100 like easier paths for like a normal engineering college. So how did you sort of like stay mentally and emotionally fit during those 2 years?
I think baby steps. Just focus on the day. Like I told you, we did not have time to think about anything else, and I was completely focused on doing my homework, revising, making notes, and things like that. I cried my first day of coaching. I was like, I couldn't do this. I am not able to understand anything, and so yeah, that happened to me. I was doubting myself whether I would be able to clear or things like that. I think my parents and my family supported a lot. My parents were like, "Jo bhi ho jaye, we are there. It doesn't matter if you clear it, do not clear it." I think that mattered a lot to me, and all my friends that I made in my coaching were like me. So they were also very hardworking, and we used to discuss. They were really good. So there was no any kind of hiding of resources or saying that we did not do this but they did that. They were very honest, and everyone was on the same path, and it was a competition, but still I made really good friends. I'm still friends with them, and like we used to discuss, did you do this question? And so I think a good peer group also helped me a lot, because we used I remember I used to get sick a lot. I used to get cold and sore throat a lot. I think due to stress or something like that. And but whenever I used to go in my class, I couldn't stop talking to my friends and discussing things, even if my voice was not coming out. So
Hmm.
I think a positive peer group, and my teachers were really nice and things like that. So that they made things really easy. At home, my mother used to take care of me, and she would make sure that I have everything. And my parents and my grandparents, everyone was there to support me. Even during my first mains, like I told you, every Sunday we used to have any kind of test. So my parents told ki even if you get negative marks in this, it's okay. So we just made sure that I should study and focus on my hard work. Result तो जो होगा वो होगा.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So I think not focusing on the result was something that helped me.
Hmm.
And I
So,
used to meditate also. Yeah, it was very important for me because बहुत ही ज़्यादा दिमाग if I क्योंकि अब वो चीज़ चली गई है, so I don't know, I don't remember that struggle much, but I still feel like if I think about those years, it was a lot of mental turmoil for me. So I used to meditate 10 or 15 minutes. I try to meditate whenever I feel very much anxious and like that. Yeah.
this is true of like most of my nights at university is I won't get sleep for like even an hour unless I sit down to meditate 10 minutes a day. Like it's just
So,
so much happens every day. There's so much on your mind. There's so many pending tasks for like the next day. So much has happened, not only in academics, like friends talking with friends and some new movie and like 100 different things, homesickness and all of that. I think even in college, like just taking 10 minutes every night before you get to bed, sit down, even if you close your eyes and your mind still is racing, I think it still sort of calms you down and gets lets you get a good night's sleep, and then like on the next day you're again like ready to like get into it and do whatever you have to do. But meditation is something I truly realized the value of like in university. I think sort of at this point I can't go to bed without like doing that meditation. I get if I meditate, I get to bed in like 15 minutes versus if I don't, it takes me like an hour. So from a pure mathematical like saving time point of view, it makes sense for me to like meditate and then sleep versus like have my mind race for 1 hour and then get to bed. Uh,
yeah, that is a really good habit. I come to meditation whenever my head is ekdam very much in turmoil, and I am very much stressed. That is on my good days I am just chilling, and but on my bad days I really want to settle down. So that is, I feel like meditation helps, and if you make it a habit, I think you won't have bad days. Yeah. So I am also trying to make a habit out of it.
Absolutely. I think you'll get to the point where you sort of can't go, like at this point, I almost can't go to bed without like doing my 10-minute meditation. It becomes so ingrained in the schedule. That's a great place to be in for college, for work, and beyond.
Yeah.
Like stress doesn't end after you've gotten into IIT, nor once you've graduated. I'm sure. Like it's consistent. So
Yeah.
sort of getting used to it and meditation sort of. I'm glad we spent like 2 minutes on meditation here. I've never had someone talk as deeply about meditation on this podcast, at least. So I want
Okay.
to like actually drill down. For students who are like about to have their exam, like maybe someone is like a few days or a few weeks or a few months away from the exam, can you speak to like on the test day, let's say you wake up in the morning, your test is in a few hours, any suggestions you have for like how to mentally be relaxed, and then when you actually get the paper, when you're giving the test, how to just like keep your cool, any sort of suggestions on that?
I think I lost my. There were two papers during my time, mains and advance. So I got very much stressed out during my mains paper. I couldn't do the even the basic of maths questions at that time. So what happens is there. I think I don't remember the what do we say format correctly, but I think there were 30 questions of each section. So my strategy was always to go with maths, then chemistry, then physics. I picked up maths, the most simple questions I wasn't able to solve because I was so stressed out. And the one thing that helped me that at that time was looking. Okay, the one thing that helped me during that time was all the papers I gave during my entire 2 years, because I had different kind of experiences during my entire 2 years, because in the same situation we used to have our mains and advanced paper. And then I just realized that okay, if I'm not able to do maths now, let's leave it, let's go to chemistry. And then I quickly did all the chemistry, all the chemistry I could do in the section, and then I went to physics, and then I again came to maths, and I was able to do that. So that is something that I would suggest, that this is why giving tests throughout the 2 years are important. You might feel that yes, you are not prepared for your weekly test or your bi-weekly test, but then also give it, because it will help you combat the stress in your main paper, and then you would feel like it's just another paper. So just so that I do not have this kind of stress in my advanced, I attempted all the question papers from 2009 to 2017
Wow.
before my advance. So our mains was in April and advance is in end of May. So between that time, for the last 1 or 2 weeks, I attempted every day one paper from 2019 to 17, and during the same times. So from 9 to 12 and 2 to 5. I used to take a 2 hour break just like it would be in the advance. So legit, when I was giving my advanced paper, I thought like, okay, today I'm giving 2018 paper. So it felt like that. So that is something I learned from a mistake in mains and corrected in advanced.
Mm. Wow. Yeah. I mean, and this is like sort of what do they make us do when we're preparing for annual day in school is like they make you do the same dance like 100 times. So on the actual day, it's sort of like even if your mind isn't working, you're just like doing something, but it's like somehow decent.
Yeah.
And it sounds like your case was somehow like that. Like as you said, 2009, 2017, 2018, just another practice test. Nothing's going on here. Nothing fancy. That's insane.
And we used and giving tests throughout the 2 years also help you think, like I remember our first, we used to have advanced two papers. Our first paper was I think a slight easier. So I was happy ki ha, I'm able to do it. Then I thought that everyone would be able to do it, so I have to do it more. Otherwise, like for less marks, for more marks also, I would get a lower ranking. So I think this helps in correcting your mistake. One very common mistake during papers we used to do was ki choose the incorrect one, and we just used to read the correct one, and because we found the correct answer from the four options and take that. So this was something that I learned from my practice test, that this is something that I do often and should not do. We should read instructions and things like that. So giving practice tests were really helpful.
Let's fast forward in time a little bit. So you gave the mains, you gave the advanced, you did a pretty decent job, you got a pretty decent ranking. So you sort of went from one step to the next, and now you've got a decent all India rank. You're ready to jump into like an IIT. And so then, from what you explained to me, how this works is you have to then decide which IIT to choose and also which branch to pursue. And when I say branch, we mean like course or major. So that could
Yes.
be math or whatever, engineer or some type of engineering. We don't mean branch as in which IIT. So just this is for the listeners' clarifications. So tell me how that works. Like you can choose between like an II. From my understanding, you can choose between an IIT one specific course versus another IIT offering you another course. So how does this entire process work? Like just lay it out for the listeners.
Okay, so after your results are out, there is something called as JOSA counseling. I'll move forward with how JOSA counseling for IITs is done. Is done a similar kind of is done for JEE on the basis of JEE main score, and a similar kind of is done for on the basis of IIT advanced score. So all the IITs consider only your advanced score. You need to qualify mains and then you can appear in advance, and then that score is considered for all the IITs. So we have a JOSA counseling in which we have 3 rounds of counseling, and in that we are provided with a list of all the IITs and all the branches that those IITs offer for undergrads. And in that list we then we create a priority list. We can have whichever college or branch we prefer in that order, and then after first round of counseling you are depending upon how many people participate in that, you are shown that yes, you will get this branch based on your rank and on your preferences. And then in the second round that branch that your preference might go up, but once after the first round your preference, anything below your preference, you cannot go, you cannot get that. Everything goes above from that. So in your second round you may get your like more preferred branch or more preferred college. Like I would say it is something like A college and B branch, and then B college and A branch, or something like that. So it's this is a order kind of thing. And then we have 3 rounds of counseling, and in the end you have the option to opt out, or do you want to continue with this choice, and then we get that college and branch. So
So
it is a mix of all the colleges and branches they offer. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a good high level overview. Let's take it a step more micro and talk about your case specifically. So you ended up doing applied math at IIT Roorkee.
Yeah.
Do you remember what were some other offers which you actually rejected for IIT Roorkee?
Uh, so I got IIT Roorkee applied mathematics, and in the I many people have preferences that they want a particular college, maybe because it is near to their home, or maybe because they prefer that city, and or they want a particular branch. Like many people prefer CSE branch, or if you have very keen interest in one of the other branches, so people, if you have very much interest in core physics, then there are courses like I don't remember the course name. Okay, I don't remember the course name. So there are a few core physics courses, and then like maths course in mine and things like that. So I did not have any kind of preference. I My main aim was just thinking about what would be the best for me, like where I would be able to grow the most. So IIT Roorkee, I think I was getting applied maths, and that was a very good combination for me because it was comparatively closer to my home. Like it was a 5 to 6 hours train journey, and applied math was a lesser known branch, so people did not know much about it, and it was a 5 year course, so many people did not apply into that, and that is one reason that I got this branch on my rank. So yeah. And during in 2018 they also introduced something known as supremary seats for females, because there were very less females in IITs and engineering colleges in general. So 14%, like every branch should have 14%, at least 14% of females. So in my branch we were like 35 people and 5 girls. So yeah,
Mm.
still a little less ratio, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, that's unfortunate. I hope it gets better over time.
So I got this. So that is why I got applied maths on my rank. Otherwise it closes around 2500 or 2000, like that. So lucky enough that I applied in 2018. I appeared in 2018. Yeah. So this was a good combination for me, and it was a leap of faith because people did not know much about that branch. We did not know what to expect from this branch, and what would it have all the courses that we require for jobs and placement. But it turned out to be good, and now this branch name has been changed to mathematics and computing. So now people are more aware about this branch. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think in terms of the male to female ratio, I'm really hoping, I think it's unfortunate. I hope it improves over time and more of our girls get into IITs and get into tech. Also, wanted to say that was a very good, like, sort of high level overview. Someone like me, now I know the ABCs of like what's going on here. So I think good job. What I want to ask you is maybe a challenging question because I'm asking you to generalize. But in general, if you were to advise someone who is choosing between the specific IIT versus the branch, do you think that one should be given priority over the other?
I think there is a hairline difference. It is very subjective. It is very dependent upon what do you prefer, what kind of city do you prefer, what kind of branch do you want. Eh, and some are difficult branches, some are comparatively easier branches. How much do you want to pursue? If you have interest in any kind of course, then you want to pursue that branch. So this every I think every student faces, like, have a short list of 2 to 3 colleges and branches and 2 to 3 sets that they want to choose from, and then it's just leap of faith and choosing one. But I don't think there is a I cannot say that yes, definitely prefer this IIT or definitely prefer this branch. This is a very much of a subjective and very much personal choice, that what do you want.
Okay, that's like brutally honest. Yeah, I appreciate that. Um, you said applied mathematics was something which like you and your parents were a bit apprehensive about. Like you were not
Yeah.
sure, what am I going to be learning? Am I going to be able to get the kind of career that I want to? I want to give a high level overview for listeners, someone who's going into it and actually studying a branch of, like, as you said, now the name is changed to math and computer science, but like very high level overview over the 5 years. What did you learn in the applied math course?
So I think it was literally applied mathematics. So we had many abstract or many pure math courses like real analysis and complex analysis and topology and things like that. And we had applied courses like graph theory, number theory, and discrete mathematics and things like that. So it was I found it a really balanced version of maths and computing, as it says. Yeah.
And do you think such a course prepares someone well for a career in software engineering at a big tech company?
This is the beauty of this course. It prepares for both of the things. If you want to go towards research, this course is a good introductory course for that. If you want to go towards software engineering, it is a good introductory course for that. So in software engineering point of view, I would say it tells you about algorithms and the maths that is involved in software engineering. But other things like since Java, not Java, I mean programming, learning a programming language was compulsory for all first year students. So this was, we everyone in our college learned a programming language in their first year irrespective of the branch.
Mhm.
But it had my course had other subjects also, like discrete maths and number theory, graph theory, which is inherently used in computer science. So that was a good thing. And but other things like operating systems and networking, and this is something, networks, or this is something that was not taught in my branch, at least till the time I was there. But when the name was changed to applied mathematics and computing, they also changed the syllabus. So as far as I remember, they added some ML courses and things like that also. So yeah, that is a little better.
So you're saying, if I were to summarize, correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying it prepares you well for a career in either research and academia or in industry.
Yeah.
You have the skill sets for whatever you want to do. Um,
I would say kind of introductory skill set, because anyways, if you want to choose any of the career path, you need to be very good at that.
yeah.
So it provides a start to both of these. So you have a choice if whether you want to pursue research or move in tech. Yeah.
I want to end this section with just giving you the opportunity. assuming there's someone listening who's working through their preparation, who's about to give the JEE exam, what's like one message you want to like throw out to everyone listening to this podcast?
I think go for it and without any burden or anything like that. Just give your best, and whatever will happen would be for the best. And IIT is definitely worth it.
Mm.
I felt it. 2 years, 2 years of rigorous hard work was definitely worth the experience I'm getting.
Super. All right. I think what we'll do now is we'll fast forward in time and we'll talk about the IIT experience. Those 5 years, get into some specifics. I definitely want to touch on your course. I want to touch upon academics and internships, but also a more fun side of IIT life, as we hinted at initially regarding the basketball and the clubs and the midnight conversations and walks. We'll
Yeah.
try to touch upon both aspects. Very first question I want to ask you is maybe this is a basic question, but this is also like something I'm personally curious about, which is just what was your like day-to-day schedule like? Like from the moment you wake up till you go to bed, a typical Monday, what are you doing the entire day?
I think it depends upon the years. So my was a 5 year course, and it was, since it was an extra year. So my branch is integrated MSc in applied mathematics. So it is both integrated MSc. So technically it is the postgraduate. So I have both BSc and MSc kind of degree. So yeah, integrated MSc. And since it was a 5 year course, so we had very light, what do we say, contact hours. I think it's contact hours, right?
Yeah.
The hours, that the weekly hours we say. Okay, so since it was a 5 year course, so we had very light contact hours. Our first year was hectic. We used to have classes from 9 to 6 or 8 to 6, and with a few gaps in between. But from second year onwards, it was either the classes in the first half or either classes in the second half. So this depends upon which year I am in. So
Hmm.
first year, basically, since we just came out of JEE, and mostly we used to wake up and have our breakfast in mess and go to classes. And then after that I joined basketball. We used to have something called as NSO, in which we used to join one of the sports. So I chose NSO. We had three, I think, services. One was NSO, NCC, and NSS. So national, I don't remember the full forms. Okay, so NSO, NCC, and NSS. I chose NSO, which was sports related, and I chose basketball in that. So it was very our basketball culture was very strict. So at 6:30 you have to be there. If it is 6:31, you would have to take one round of the ground. So how many minutes you are late, that many minutes you need to take round of that many rounds you need to take off the ground. So 6:30 to 8:30 usually was basketball, and after that I used to have my dinner. And let's see if we had any. We used to have tutorials. That is something like question sheets that we need to submit. If we could do those tutorials, or chill out with friends. And first year was majorly missing home and thing like that. Yeah, friends I gradually made towards the end of my first year.
Hmm.
And then from second year, actually I studied from 2018 to 2023, among which 2020 to 21 was COVID.
Hmm.
So in my 5 years, around 1.5 to 2 years I was not in college. So
Hmm.
it was a very different routine at home. But yeah, uh, in college it depends. If it we used to have, let's say, after lunch class, then we used to wake up all night and chill, and then we used to wake up in the afternoon and then have lunch and then go for classes. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was different.
I'm sure like we all have a few like difficult stories of like going through high school during COVID. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's like insanely difficult to be going through the IIT rigor while online and away from friends and away from that atmosphere. That's like a whole rabbit hole I won't even go down on. I think you've hinted at this, like you've sort of given us a sneak peek, but I want to dive full in. And we were talking at it from a schedule point of view, but I
Yeah.
want that's like one level higher. And sort of if you were to differentiate each of the 5 years at IIT Roorkee for yourself, on a higher level, how are they different in terms of like strategy or mindset or priorities or like the different challenges you faced each year? How was each year like different?
This is a very good question because definitely all the years were really different. I would say first year is majorly in awe because we thought that yes, we earned it. Now our hard work is over, and yes, we are in a new place, away from home for the first time, and exploring new things and getting to know very different kind of people and different kind of courses. So my course was very different from the things I learned during my JEE because pure maths is really difficult. It is not that kind of maths that we used to do, we had in JEE. So different kind of courses, different kind of teaching schedules, and different kind of examinations, I would say, because it's college is a little lighter than school, obviously. So I would say that first year is majorly exploring. Like this is a very common term used in our college. कि explore करो. This is something that every senior says in exploring. Yeah, explore करना. And one, I would say, culture in our college was our college had a really good senior junior relationship. So we used to have something called as chapo. Chapo is short form for chai pakoda. So we can go to literally any senior and say कि हमें चापो दे दो. They have to give you a treat. They have to take you somewhere for to eat. Whether it can be your canteen. It can be like used to have small little cafes or CCD and things like that, or it can be outside campus to some fancy restaurants or things like that. So first year is all about taking chapos from all kinds of senior. Randomly meet anyone, take guidance from anyone, and take chapo from anyone. So I would say first year it was all about chapos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first year I would say is that. Second year, in my case, I would consider it as a bonus year. My friends were mostly from 4 year courses, so at our times, for you need to appear for on-campus internship during the start of your third year. So second year, people majorly start their resume building. I'm talking about most of the people. Many people start these all things from first year also, but I utilize my first year chilling out. So from second year, people start their resume building, open source contribution, doing projects, or involving doing projects under professors, or writing research paper or things like that. So second year, I would say something कि train वापस रास्ते पे आ रही है कि you start seeing what after 4 years or what after 5 years. So second year was good for me because I knew I had a supplement third year for my preparation of internship. So I could go slow. I could explore more things. So second year was the time when I did open source contributions and I applied for outreachy. I did not get in, but yeah, that was a really good experience for me, getting to know things and seeing that what is out there. So second year was majorly about that, and then third year is it was rigorous prep. Third year was during COVID also, so I was at home. So it was majorly rigorous preparation for my internships. So we used to our internship tests used to happen in July. So the last I would say 3-2, that is second semester of third year, I completely prepared for my internships only. And then fourth year, I got my internship. So fourth, since then I just chilled out. Yeah, I got my internship, and then yeah, I really chilled out. And because I had fifth year, just in case if I didn't get a PPO, I could prepare again and then appear for placements. But then I got my PPO, so fifth year was the best year. Fifth year, I think last year of college is best for everyone because you have all your friends are placed. So all you have to do is chill and get through the courses and enjoy the last piece of your hostel life.
What is the full form of PPO?
Okay, a pre-placement offer. So okay, so what happens is when you intern at a company, they offer you placement for next year. They say that you can join with us next year also. So they provide us PPO, so we need not to apply. We need not to apply. We have an offer in hand before we graduate from college. So that is PPO, and in our we used to get it 1 year before joining.
So I
So
used,
as soon as I completed my internship in July 2022, and I got to know that I have PPO and I would be joining in 2023. So I did not have to sit in placements to apply again and then get a job.
I want to double down on the Google internship. Maybe quite a few listeners here end up getting into IIT or engineering college, wherever, and end up doing internships with big tech over the summer.
Yeah.
What was that Google internship experience like? That was probably your first experience in a big tech company like Google, meeting so many interesting people, completely new environment. Tell us about that internship experience specifically.
Yeah, again, COVID happened, so mine internship was online. So, yeah, it was a completely remote internship, and but I would say the experience was really nice. It was my first internship, and I really like the culture and the people. People are very helpful at Google. You can randomly ask for help from any person and say that you can't understand this, or if you can help in this, and they help in that. So that is something I really liked during my internship. And the swags, we used to get a lot of swags. So the Noogler hat, if you have seen the one with what do we say, fan, yeah. So the swags were a good thing, and yeah, it was really good. I mean, the project was good, my team was good, and I had a good interaction. I did not know where my those 10 weeks went. It was a really good experience.
Awesome, awesome. Let's actually, now that we've touched upon one university summer, which was the fourth year, the summer
Yeah.
after your fourth year, where you did the Google internship. That was the last summer before you graduated. Let's talk about summer one, summer two, and summer three. You weren't doing a Google internship. How were you spending your time over those few months?
Okay, so summer one was mostly chilling because obviously it was like coming out of JEE and first year, so it was mostly I don't remember anything specific that I did. I did learn guitar. Now I'm thinking. I think I learned 2 weeks guitar, and I don't know how to play guitar till now. So yeah, that I did my first summer. And second summer was when I realized, yeah, because I told, right, okay, my friends were in 4 year courses, so that was their time when they started thinking about their careers and which path they want to go. So that clicked in me also, that what I want to pursue, want to pursue in tech, whether it is AIML or software engineering or data science or analytics, or there were multiple options, and I did not have much clarity what I want to pursue. So during that time, there was a lot of culture of open source in our college, and people used to contribute and apply for GSOC and Outreachy. So I tried giving my attempt in Outreachy. So most of the summer, I in Outreachy we contribute for an org, and then that org selects based on your contribution, and then you get a project to work upon. So I contributed for I think 2 to 3 months during that time in Mozilla. I did not get selected in Outreachy, but that was a good starting point for me for like getting into the real world. So that was the first time I interacted with people and got to know the source code of Mozilla, and how things are done, how bugs are made, and things like that. So that was a good learning experience for me. And then the third summer was my internship prep summer. The third summer, or I would say the third year, I studied Algo DSA. DSA is data structures and algorithms. So different types. This is something that is asked during our interviews and our placement tests. So this is like a very wide topic. So I used to give mock tests and study different algorithms, study different concepts. Yeah. So that I did my third summer. Fourth summer was internship, and fifth summer was just before joining. So that was definitely just chilling.
um, let's expand on internship preparation. I feel like it's important to say a little more here.
Yeah.
So there's this whole application process for an internship as well. But before we get to that, how do you actually, like, what's the process of actually setting yourself up to have the best chance of getting your dream internship? Like, what does the preparation process look like?
I think it depends upon different colleges. For example, in my colleges, we used to have an internship season that happened from July to October or something like that, where companies used to come and select. There used to be an online test and a few round of interviews, and then they used to offer you an internship. And we know that in these interviews and in these online tests, they used to ask us, there is something called as competitive programming. So they used to ask us competitive programming questions, and questions based on different algorithms and different state data structures. And so there is a varied I would say kind of syllabus or kind of topics that you need to know to ace these tests and these interviews. So that was something that I prepared for my internship, like different kind of data structures, arrays, linked lists, and different algorithms, and different kind of sorting and searching. And I did not do much of operating system or networks, because since I wasn't from a computer science branch, so we could say that yes, this was not taught in our course. Yeah, so it was majorly algo DSA and giving contest and solving lots of questions and doing things. Yeah.
Awesome. I think what I want to do now is wrap up the more serious, the more academic section of this podcast and jump into something that's actually more fun and more lighthearted and more casual, but also very important for listeners to know about in terms of when you're entering IIT. I think you're entering not just a community of like intellectuals, but also like interesting people from all over India who have, as you said, all these diverse passions of art and painting and sport and drama and 100 different things. And so, what I want to touch up, what I want to pick your brain on for a few minutes is the IIT community and the IIT student body. Let's begin with just a higher level question, which is how would you describe the type of students that come to IIT?
The students are really different because people are from different culture and from different states, but we all have that one thing in common, that yes, we worked hard 2 years and then came into IIT. So all of us are kind of hardworking, and we do explore different things, and we, like, many people, we all are somewhat studious, and yes, that's true, but we also have another side where we pursue our different art forms or different things that we like, or different sports. So that is something I would say is how, like, the community is. We have different kinds of uh, events going on throughout the year, different competitions, and we used to have our tech fest and cultural fest. So that was really fun, 3 days over the weekend, and with different the entire college used to lit up, and we used to celebrate different festivals. And because since people were from all over the country, all kinds of festivals were celebrated in our college. So that was something I really liked about the students over there.
I think
And we had a really good culture at our college. The senior junior relation, as I said, was really good. We used to have these chapos all year around. My seniors in my basketball group was really nice. We used to have these basketball parties and things like that. And we used to have freshers in which our seniors would ask us to dress up in a certain way, like wear socks in one leg and do not wear socks in another leg, make a ponytail and come like that. But it all get used to get reversed in their final year. In the final year, during our seniors farewell, we used to ask them that yes, you should come dressed up like Shinchan, or you should come dressed up like some different character as Nun or something like that. And then our seniors would so wholeheartedly involve in that and dress up as different characters for their farewell party. So I really liked this culture at our college.
Mhm. Very cool. I think what's amazing about especially a college ecosystem, and this need not be just an IIT, but any decently selective college, is you're automatically filtering just because of the acceptance rate. You're automatically filtering for someone who is decently intelligent, hardworking, ambitious, willing to put in the effort, sincere. Like to some extent, these are five qualities I would say any top college you're gonna generally find in most students. And after that, the beauty is within that community, you still have everyone who is so diverse. Like someone wants to go into the
Yeah.
startup world, someone wants to go into research and do a PhD, someone wants to be like, as in your
Yes.
software engineer at Google, someone's into dance, someone's into art. Within those intelligent and sincere and ambitious people, you've got like 100 different interests. I feel
Yeah.
like it's a very good like best of both worlds scenario. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
definitely true. Every person is very different, and everyone have their own thoughts and own perspective. So you get to know what, yeah, a similar situation can be different from for different people. So that is something I also observed.
Mhm. um Starting right from day one, like your day one at college, I'm sure that was like a scary day one as it is for all of us. I want to walk through like first few weeks or first few months. What was the process for you of like building friendships and finding those people you enjoy like hanging around with? How did you even like reach out to and find such people?
So I think, yeah, I really believe in you make friends accidentally. So some of my friends are from my branch, and the other are the ones that are near, that were near my room. That were near my room or my roommate. So we used to have random room allotment. We weren't allowed to choose our roommate or where would our room be. So that I think was a good thing, because in first year then you get a chance to meet with students of other branches and interact with them. So I mostly had friends that were near my room. So yeah, I made friends like that, because everyone is away from home, and everyone needs someone. So yeah, so like that is how I made friends, and then friends of friends. That, and I felt that was a that and I got lucky in making friends, because I remember the first time when I got ill during my hostel life. And then I had fever, and all my friends one by one came and visited me and made sure that every time someone is there just to be with me. And my mother on my phone was asking that, are you missing home? And I said that they are not letting me miss home. So
Uh,
that is something I really liked, and that is when I felt that yes, friends are really important, and I am lucky that I got such a good friends in my first year. And then over the years, I this is something that I developed over the years, making new friends, in talking to everyone, interacting with everyone, because believe everyone has a different story. We can learn from everyone. So I interacted with many seniors and made many friends, many juniors and peers. Yeah. So I kind of made friends all through 5 years. Yeah.
No, I think that's a very wholesome answer. You got me thinking about over my first year, how did I make my friends? And I was sort of asking myself the question that was it kind of accidental? To some extent, I think it was accidental. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. I think I agree with you there. One of my very good friends at college, and like if she's listening, she would know this. It was such an accident. Like it was just we both realized that we both were enjoying exploring the city, and so we would keep bumping into each other at like some museum or at the zoo or at a park, and eventually that's how we became friends. Like we weren't even like on each other's radar, we weren't even like talking on a daily basis. We just kept bumping into each other so much that we were eventually like, okay, what's going on? Like why do we keep meeting each other? um, there's a lot of interesting stories in terms of how people find their best friends at college. I think it is accidental. I also think that you can put yourself in situations to find people who could become good friends. And so, if that is joining a club or playing a
Yeah.
sport or like trying not to spend as much time in your room, trying to be like in the common areas, in the
Definitely.
play like ping pong with someone, at least put yourself in situations where you can like meet new interesting people. I think college is not the time to be sort of in, if you, even if you're like studying, like go out and study, go like study with someone, don't just sit in the room. It's like probably the biggest thing I'll say to a junior.
Yeah, looking back, I did make friends in the ways you suggested. Like whoever we went basketball with, so those were my friends. And then I wanted to learn pool in my last year, so I had a few boys in my branch who also wanted to learn pool. So I went with them, and we learned pool together, things like that. Yeah,
Awesome, awesome. I think I'm really glad we dived into this. Let's touch upon one last aspect and then we'll begin wrapping up this episode. I've really enjoyed so far, though. I think we've touched a lot of different topics already, right from IIT preparation to like we're now at like the journey itself. Um, what I want to talk to you is maybe a different type of friendship, which is sort of a slightly more respectful friendship, which is the friendship we have towards seniors. So
yeah,
someone 2 years older than you still in IIT, someone who's graduated and someone who's working at the moment, that also is a friendship, but there's a different flavor of that friendship versus like someone who's in your class.
yeah.
But I think seniors and alumni, so valuable in college. At Indian colleges, I've heard that sort of whatever the senior says, you do. Like there's no questions asked. They say it, you do it. But I think in so many cases that's valuable. And I'm sure you have stories to say here as well. So, do you have any sort of experiences or anecdotes you can share about times when your IIT seniors or alumni helped you and you were like very grateful to them?
I feel, as I said, as I'm saying again and again, so senior junior relationship in our college was really good, and during our first year, we used to have someone as mentor. So they used to be a fourth or fifth year, and they used to guide us throughout the year that okay, this is the culture, okay, you're facing difficulties in your exams, or you're not able to settle in. And so my mentor was really good. So we had two mentors in 1 year, and both my mentors were really good. And whenever they used to come to college, or we used to meet them frequently, and even if we are walking around the campus and we used to meet them, we used to interact a lot with our fifth year seniors when we were in first year.
Hmm.
I feel like the seniors are very welcoming, were very welcoming in my college. Not even that, even if even after when we are graduated, or when they graduated and they used to come back just to stay for a few days, then they used to stay in our rooms, and then they used to take us for chapo. That was really very obvious कि if seniors are coming, we used to go to chapo. And even in basketball also, there is something called as sangram, which is a basketball event for within it is like a sports event within the college. So different people from different colleges, nearby colleges, used to come in that event. And so there was an alumni team also that was formed during that time. And then we used to meet seniors who were like 10 years graduate, or things like that, or people like that. And that was really fun. We used to hear their stories. Okay, they took chapo from their seniors and we took from them. So we got to know, yes, that the culture is still there. And different, okay, that building was not there at that time and now it is there, and we used to show them around campus what are things different. The seniors were really warm and welcoming.
Hmm. I think brilliant. We've touched on a lot of ground over this like conversation so far, right from IIT preparation to the journey itself. Also, a lot of like insights and wisdom you've given as a senior to like your juniors who are maybe who could be like about to embark on the IIT journey or currently on like in their first second year of IIT. I think especially US University, I think we need to have a better culture of like actually respecting seniors' advice more because it's sort of there's value in also just taking the advice and going with it because sometimes even if you don't agree, they've been through that journey, they have made mistakes, and so our seniors, my only intention for my juniors is that whatever mistake I made, don't make that mistake. Like make
Yes.
new mistakes and then guide your juniors to make new mistakes. That's how like we all grow and evolve, like as generations. So yeah, I think I really enjoyed. I learned a ton. What I want to do now for listeners is to fast forward in time a little bit. You're currently at Google doing your software engineering. It's been about a year. It's been a great experience from what I've heard so far. I want to like give a sneak peek into just your future vision for your career. And so long term, this could also be a high level answer. What do you foresee your career being?
I think I want to continue learning and like increasing my skill set, because this is something that would always help me. I worked hard during my JEE, and then I got into IIT Roorkee, and then I worked hard for my internship, and I got my internship and placement at Google. But yes, too, I want to continue to grow more and uh, learn what the latest skills are and get into the hot topics, whatever are there in tech, and just contribute to the world and contribute my, like, I learned, I studied, and then I learned these skills. I just want to apply this to the world, so that indirectly only if I'm helping anyone. So yeah, that would be it.
Super. Awesome. I think to end on like a slightly more exciting and fast-paced note, what I'll transition into is the fast fire round of questions. So just a few very quick questions for you, and you can also feel free to answer in just one short phrase or one sentence. Just a quick back and forth before we like finally do our conclusion of the episode. So fast fire question number one is any one piece of advice that an IIT senior gave you which sort of still sticks with you today?
To chill. Yeah, that one word which is used a lot in our college is chill hai, cool hai. So yeah, just chill.
Amidst like all the academic intensity and like people getting Google jobs, like so just chill. I love
Yeah.
it. Uh, I think Roorkee is like an interesting place to be. You described the campus as being very beautiful. I want to ask you about one thing you enjoyed and one thing you disliked about living in Roorkee.
Especially about Roorkee, I really liked Ganga was over there. So Haridwar was like just 45 minutes away, and we had Ganga canal just outside of our campus. So
Wow.
I really like that auspiciousness of
Uh,
Ganga being around us. And something that was, I won't say that was it was a little difficult because Roorkee is a very small city. So all that was there was just the campus. There was nothing outside of Roorkee. So no fancy cafes or restaurants or anything like that. And we had a few, and we just savored our 5 years over there. Yeah.
so like it was sort of like a college town, like middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Actually, firstly the college was made, then the city was made, because college also was made in 1847 because the Britishers wanted civil engineers for Ganga. So,
Wow. Okay. That's also an interesting fun fact about like IIT Roorkee.
yeah.
I didn't know that. Awesome. What's like over the 5 years? I'm sure you took a lot of like challenging, fascinating classes. If you had to pick one, what was the most interesting class you took over the 5 years?
IIT Roorkee is known for its civil engineering. So we had one hydrodynamics class, and that lab was so big. I really had fun going to that lab because we used to have like streams of water flowing inside the building. So that was really fun.
Okay. Very cool. Um, Now, as an alumni, looking back, sort of nostalgia is probably all that you have now that you're out of the ecosystem. But any one sweet memory from the last 5 years which you want to share on the podcast?
There were many memories, but the latest one I can remember would be my convocation, because it was meeting your friends technically in the college for the last time and going through all those places where we used to have our lives all for the 5 years. So yeah, it would be the convocation
Mm,
and completing the end of the journey. Yeah, the
mm.
convocation.
Lastly, I want to ask you about any one thing or any one skill that you think IIT didn't teach you, which you had to like learn on the job at Google.
uh, we had to get out of the bubble. Even in college, it was, we were in a bubble. Like we were very secure in our college, and we had a fixed schedule of, okay, you would study, you will have exams, and then a fixed set of things used to be there. And so that is something that I think what we call as adulting. So yeah, adulting is something that I'm learning now.
Mm. Lastly, if you had, it's been an awesome episode, a lot of gems. If you had to wrap up with one final message for listeners, students younger than you, about to embark on the college journey and then also get into the world of work and the bigger world outside the bubble, as you said, any final words for listeners?
So I would say that enjoy whatever time you have. Even if I had a chance to go back in time and choose a different path, I won't, because I enjoyed every step of it. even the 2 years of my JEE preparation, even though it was very difficult and it required a lot of hard work, but it was really worth it. And then my 5 years at college, I wouldn't change a thing. So I would say everything has its own time, and things will fall into place. So wherever you are, just enjoy and keep looking forward. Yeah, don't just be stuck, and just keep looking forward, learn new things, but keep your calm and chill karo.
Chill Karo. Awesome. That's a good title for the episode as well, I think. Beautiful. I think that's a great way to wrap. If a listener is interested in connecting, has follow-up questions, wants to pick your brain about anything IIT related or Google related, what do you think is a good way to reach out to you?
Think my email would be a good way. So it is AARUSHIBIJ@gmail.com. So yeah, you can connect me on email.
Perfect. I will link that in the description as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Arushi. Really enjoyed the conversation. Pleasure to have you on the podcast, and thank you for introducing me and hopefully introducing listeners to the whole world of IIT and Google and beyond. But yeah, really enjoyed having you on the podcast, and pleasure to host you.
Yeah, thank you, Arya. It was fun. I really relived many of my memories of college and my preparation. So yes, thank you for having me. And I hope this would be helpful to all the JES parents and as well as people who are confused or just want to have some kind of guidance. Yeah.
All right, that was the episode. To all the young listeners out there, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you feel more energized, inspired, and curious for the exciting university journey that lies ahead. Stay tuned. Many more wonderful episodes to be released on Uni Unveiled across a diversity of majors, countries, institutions, and speaker profiles. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Uni Unveiled. This podcast is just a small part of a much larger initiative undertaken by my family called Serene Strokes to spread positive sparks of growth, transformation, and joy among all our audience. Check out our official website www.serenestrokes.com. In the description and comments, please feel free to share other topics and questions which you would love to hear about from our different speakers on this podcast. Until then, take care and remember that this big word, university, may not be as scary or as intimidating as you think it is. Thank you for listening to Uni Unveiled.